Ya estás.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Muy buenos días. Bienvenidas y bienvenidos todos los que nos acompañan tanto en el Zoom como en la transmisión vía YouTube. Estamos en este segundo día de los diálogos de alto nivel. Hoy nos acompaña Mr. Stuart Haynes de San Vicente y las Granadinas, a quien damos la más cordial bienvenida, y a nombre del secretario general Álvaro Velarca, agradecemos que pues nos haga el honor de presentar el día de hoy su ponencia. Para presentar a Mr. Stuart Haynes y su ponencia, dejo la palabra a Brandon Pérez González, subdirector del Exterior y Alianzas Estratégicas.
Thank you very much, Ms. Gonzalez. I'm going to introduce Stuart Haynes, who's currently serves as the Executive Director of San Vincent and the Grenadines of the National Insurance Services, a position he has held since February 2017. He is a fellow of the Faculty and Institute of Actuaries and a chartered financial analyst by profession. In 2018, Mr. Haynes was elected for the Bureau of the International Social Security Association, ISA, based in Geneva, Switzerland. Further, in 2020, he was appointed as ISA's vice chairperson of the Technical Commission on Investment of Social Security Funds and appointed as a member of ISA's Finance Committee for the triennium 2023-2025. He serves as the focal point for ISA, representing the social security institutions in the English-speaking Caribbean. In addition to his capacity as Executive Director of the NISS, Mr. Haynes is currently serving as a Director of the Financial Services Authority, the East Caribbean Financial Holding Company, and the Eastern Caribbean Home Mortgage Bank. Mr. Stuart Haynes holds a BSc in Actuarial Science from the London School of Economics and Political Science, and a Master in Actuarial Management from CAS Business School, London, with a specialty in investment management. So thank you for joining us, Mr. Stuart, and I let you the floor to speak on the CARICOM Social Security Agreement. Go ahead, Mr. Stuart.
All right. Good morning. Buenos dias. It's a pleasure for me to be addressing this very important session that speaks across Latin America, the Caribbean, to bring the CARICOM experience. When we see the word CARICOM, it's mean the Caribbean community, and we typically focus on the English-speaking Caribbean. So my conversation this morning would be the CARICOM Social Security Agreement. I also want to use this opportunity to thank the leadership of CISS for allowing us to share our experience, how we have strengthened the platform to protect migrant workers within the CARICOM space. So by way of introduction, the government of the English-speaking Caribbean territories have fortified or strengthened the social protection mechanism for intra-regional migration. That means moving within the CARICOM countries. We have like 16 of us. And that was attempted through two principal modalities. There's what we call the CARICOM Social Security Agreement, and also there's a Convention on Social Security in the OECS. So the CARICOM is a wider Caribbean, 16 territories, and the OECS is a subset of CARICOM, consists of 9 countries. And the aim of these agreements is fostering unity among member states by functional cooperation in the area of social security. How can the social security systems in the region work together to provide protection to persons who are moving from one country to another? And this agreement is an integral part of facilitating the free movement of labor and protection of social security rights. So we maintain and we protect social security rights under this agreement. So I'll speak to this CARICOM Social Security Agreement. This is one of the most significant coordinated development for social security systems since inception. And we have social security systems been in inception 50 years or more. But this is singularly the most significant coordinated development in the regional social security system. In 1996, we had like 5 CARICOM governments sign on to the CARICOM Social Security Agreement. But by July 2002, we had all the English-speaking CARICOM member states had ratified and enacted this agreement. So this agreement is by law. It's intended to protect the CARICOM nationals' entitlement to social security benefits. We have the terminology where you move in the region and you don't lose. And this agreement provides equity, important equality in treatment when moving from one country to another country in the CARICOM space. The OECS Convention on Social Security is a separate arrangement, and this potentially covers only 9 member states of the sub-region. And it's intended to facilitate free movement of labor. It promotes equality in treatment of workers within Social Security. Has only been enacted in 2 unratified countries, Grenada and Montserrat. So in practice, this agreement is almost non-existent. This is the OECS Convention on Social Security. But for the purpose of this conversation, I would speak to the CARICOM reciprocal agreement among the CARICOM countries. So the CARICOM reciprocal agreement, what are the coverage? What are the members? We have countries like Antigua, Bahamas, Barbados, Belize, Dominica, Grenada, Guyana, Jamaica, Montserrat, St. Kitts, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines, and Trinidad. These are the CARICOM member states. These are the full member states, and all governments have signed on to this CARICOM Social Security Agreement. And that is a significant achievement by these governments. But we also have what we call affiliated members. British Virgin Islands, Turks and Caicos, and Anguilla. These 3 members have not yet signed on the CARICOM Reciprocal Agreement. But what does this CARICOM Social Security Agreement covers from a way of benefit? It mainly covers the long-term benefit, the pensions. Invalidity pension is covered. Disablement pension is covered. Old age pensions are covered. Survivors' pension are covered, and any death benefit in the form of pensions. So it covers all member states, and it covers certain benefits, which are the pensions. So the short-term benefits, such as sickness and maternity, are not covered under the CARICOM Social Security Agreement. The benefits, what's the benefit of the CARICOM Social Security Agreement? It promotes equity in the treatment of migrant CARICOM workers among territories. So if Stuart Haynes now, who resides in St. Vincent, move to St. Lucia, when I move, I will pay Social Security under St. Lucia. I won't have to pay multiple St. Vincent and St. Lucia. So I'll move to St. Lucia, I'll pay under St. Lucia. And on retirement, my benefit will be determined by looking at the contribution made in these 2 countries. So it promotes equity in treatment. The St. Lucia Social Security system won't discriminate because I migrate from St. Vincent to St. Lucia. So it's equal treatment. It protects and maintains social security rights. social security is a fundamental human right within the CARICOM space and wider. And social security system in the implementation of this agreement ensure that these fundamental rights are protected, whether you are a national of the country or whether you are any other CARICOM national, right? And the contracting parties, based on our experience over 20-something years, have been honoring their obligations under this agreement. St. Vincent has been honoring, St. Lucia has been honoring, Trinidad has been honoring, Barbados has been honoring their commitment with regards to all payment under this agreement and protecting and preserving the rights of our CARICOM nationals. Participants are either under this agreement receive similar benefits as if they remain in one country, or in other cases, they receive a higher benefits. So in no case they are worse off by moving. Actually, in some cases, you are better off. And I will show numbers with regards to where you're better off. So it's actually protect you from that baseline. So for instance, if I stay St. Vincent for 20 years, for instance, I would have a replacement rate of 35%. If I travel to St. Lucia, I work 10 years St. Lucia, 10 years St. Vincent, then I would qualify for pensions in both countries, and I would get pensions from the two countries. And my pension I get from the two would be higher. So it protects the right of CARICOM national moving from one country to another. I just give a snapshot of the design of Social Security, because the design of the systems are important, because of the design, it could impact in terms of the equality of the payment to the beneficiary, both from the institution and from the individual. So we see Anguilla has a contribution rate of $10. We see also the weight ceiling, the maximum amount varies across countries and varies in terms of currency. The Bahamas use the Bahamian dollars. The Barbados use the Bajan dollars. The Belize use the Belizean dollars. British Virgin Islands use the US dollars. Dominica use EC dollars. Ghana use Guyanese dollars. Jamaica use Jamaican dollars. So there are different currencies across the CARICOM countries, and they are different in terms of ceilings, right? So we haven't normalized the currency of operation, or we'll say choose a baseline currency. But by and large, most of the currencies are pegged to the US, meaning they are fixed to the US. So we typically compare it with the US, but under the agreement, there are no provision for the use of the base currency, right? The retirement ages are different. So there are no harmonization. In Angola, you could retire at 65. In Guyana, you could retire at 60. Grenada now, their retirement age has changed. What we see in most Caribbean countries now, going to age 65 as their retirement age. And that is a step in the right direction. St. Kitts retirement age, for instance, is still 62, right? But most countries are heading to 65. The only country that is higher than 65 is Barbados. Barbados retirement age is at 67. And St. Kitts now is having pension reform discussion with the view of increasing the normal pension age, and the thinking of going to 65. The other element we must pay attention to is the early pension option, or the early retirement option. Am I allowed to retire early in these countries? Well, in Anguilla, I cannot retire early. Also similar in British Virgin Islands, Grenada, and Guyana, I cannot retire early. However, most of the other countries allow early retirement at age 60. So if I take my pension early as a migrant in St. Vincent, I have to wait 5 years before I receive that pension in Angola. So these are some of the differences in designs. And the number of weeks, also very important to be entitled to a full pension, varies a bit, but most centered around 500. So there's a variation in terms of the weeks required for pension. And because there are variation in the weeks required for